Hello students, my name is Akshay Desai and I will be teaching the subject Engineering Mechanics. This subject is common for both diploma and degree. In degree we are having this subject in first semester and for diploma it is for second semester. Now what is Engineering Mechanics? If I see the definition of the Engineering Mechanics, it states it is a branch of physics which deals with the study of effect of force system acting on a particle or a rigid body which may be in state of rest or motion. Now we will see each term. First of all, it is a branch of physics. So some of the things we have already learned in school physics and 11th 12th physics. So it is just extension of that but in detail and advanced. So it is the study of effect of force system. So in each and every chapter henceforth we will be dealing with force. So first of all I should know what is force. So for that you must be aware of Newton's laws of motion. If I am having a block resting on the surface, now Newton's first law gives the definition of force itself. Now the statement for Newton's first law is every body continues to be in state of rest or of uniform motion unless it is acted upon by external unbalanced force. Now we will see with the help of this block. Now the block is steady, that means at rest. Now the forces acting here are the weight of the block which will act vertically downwards due to gravity. Now as per the Newton's third law which states that to every action there should be equal and opposite reaction. So for balancing this weight, this support, that is the surface, should offer equal and opposite reaction. Then only the block is going to be steady, otherwise it will go deep in the ground. Okay, so the surface will offer equal and opposite reaction for this weight. So I can write W is equal to N. Now if you see there is no unbalanced force, both the forces are balancing each other, so there will be no motion. So for motion to happen, there should be some external unbalanced force. So suppose I am pulling this block with force P, but that magnitude of P decides whether the block will move or not. Means it may or may not be sufficient to move that block. For example, if I am applying force on this board, okay, instead of block, now assume a board, I am applying force P, but the block is not, that board is not moving. Means though I am applying a force, it may or may not change the state of rest. That means a force can be defined as it is the external agency because it is not developed within a body. I have to provide it externally. So it is the external agency which changes or tends to change. That means here my intention is to change the position but it is not changing. So tends to change. So which changes or tends to change the state of rest or of uniform motion. Then that external agency is called as force. Now obviously the force is a vector quantity. It will have both magnitude and direction, because if I am applying the force in this direction, okay, if I reverse the direction of the force, the effect is going to change, motion will happen in opposite direction. So the direction is also important. Okay, so usually the force is represented by a vector, so a line and an arrowhead which will give it the direction of force. Now the length of the line will give me the magnitude of the force. Suppose the force is 50 Newton, so I can draw this line 5 centimeter showing 1 centimeter equal to 10 Newton. Then direction, what do you mean by direction? Direction is usually given by the angle made by that force with the horizontal. So here theta gives me the direction of the force. Then next term important for force is point of application, means where exactly that force is applied. So here, so point of application. Then next term important for force is line of action, means force is going to act only along this line, means motion will happen only along this line. Okay. So now after force we are going to particle or rigid body. Now what do you mean by particle? Particle is defined as a matter having considerable mass but negligible dimension. For example, this block I have drawn here, I am not going to consider the height and width because compared to the force applied, that block size is negligible. So we are not considering the dimensions of the block for our analysis. Then rigid body. The rigid body is a body which is made up of number of particles, and the distance between two particles is not going to change after the application of force. That means the body is not going to deform under any force. For example, if you see a beam of a floor, now on the beam the forces applied are the load from the upper floors, but if you see the beam, that beam every day, its shape is remaining same. So that means it is a rigid body, not deforming under the action of load. But there is no body which is perfectly rigid. That means I can't say that beam is perfectly rigid because there are some minute deformations which are not visible to the human eye, but there are still some deformations, micro. So we are having this, that rigid body is a hypothetical concept. It does not exist practically. But for our assumption, that our analysis, we are assuming that body as a rigid body. Then come to rest and motion. Now I am standing here, so I am in rest. So the motion is defined as change in position with respect to time. I am coming here from here, some time interval is spent between. So the motion is change in position with respect to time. Now here we have studied only a single force F. Now what is force system? Force system obviously consisting of number of forces. So if I am denoting F1, F2, theta 1, the angle, the direction will be theta 2. So when number of forces are acting on a body, then it is called as a force system. Now we need to find, our aim is to find the resultant of the force system acting on a body. Means when different forces are acting on a body, what will be the single resultant force that will cause the same effect. So before that, we will study what are the different types of force systems. Suppose if I am having a cube like this, okay. Now the force system is mainly divided into two types, which are coplanar and non-coplanar. Now coplanar, as the name suggests, when all the forces are lying in same plane. But here I can't just say the force, it should be line of force, means this line. So when line of action of all the forces lie in same plane, then it is called as coplanar force system. For example, in this particular cube, we are having 6 planes, which are the 6 faces of the cubes, right? So if all the forces are acting on this face, only on this face, F1, F2, F3, I can have number of forces, force system, right? So if all the forces are lying in one particular plane, then it is called as coplanar. But now I told that line of action is important. Suppose if I am having some force outside, F force, but after extending along its line of action, it may lie on the same plane. So again it will become coplanar with these forces. So instead of force, I should consider the line of action of all the forces should lie in the same plane. Then it is called as a coplanar force system. Now again non-coplanar, along with these three forces, if I am having one force here, F4, fifth force here, then now F1 to F5 is lying in different planes, so it is called as non-coplanar force system. Now further, these are divided into three types. That is applicable for both the types, main types. We are having subtypes as concurrent, then parallel, and last one is general. Now we'll see one by one. The concurrent force system, when first we'll see coplanar concurrent. So when all the line of action of all the forces passes through a single point, means if I am having F1, F2 also starting from the same point, F3 also starting from the same point. So all the forces, when the line of action of all the forces passing from the same point, then it is called as concurrent. Obviously all three forces lying in one plane, so it is coplanar concurrent. The practical example is when a lamp is held with the help of strings. So obviously the forces acting here are weight of the lamp, then the strings, there will be tension, suppose T1 and T2. So these are the forces. Now all the forces are acting at this point and all are lying in same plane. So it is a practical example of concurrent force system.